What's up? Got a couple things to show you guys. SpaceX is doing something stupid in the morning. So, you can see here the Dragon capsule, of course, the Crew Dragon. And we will watch Elon Musk do a little bit of debuting it, I guess you could say, where he shows it off. Excuse me. Okay, this capsule is what astronauts are going to get into and hop on top of that rocket to fly up to the space station, right? So, I'm just giving you an idea what it looks like on the inside and everything. There's Elon Musk speaking great things from inside that little horn. That should ring a few bells, but I know it won't. But let me show you something. Tomorrow morning. Okay, this is a NASA video that NASA put out today that we're gonna watch, and so I'm gonna turn the music off there and watch.
Overhead, control the spacecraft, and then we've got
NASA and SpaceX are preparing to launch the final major test before the astronauts fly aboard the Crew Dragon and Falcon 9 rocket as part of the Commercial Crew program. The test, known as in-flight abort, will demonstrate the spacecraft's escape capabilities, showing that the crew system can protect astronauts even in the unlikely event of an emergency during launch. The uncrewed flight test is targeted for Saturday, January the 18th, from Launch Complex 39A in Florida.
That's tomorrow morning.
After liftoff, Falcon 9's ascent will follow a trajectory that will mimic a Crew Dragon mission to the International Space Station, matching the physical environments the rocket and spacecraft will encounter during a normal ascent. SpaceX will
Okay, I'm going to pause it right there. So the little Dragon capsule is going to fire its Super Dracos and pull away from the rocket booster as if there was a problem with the rocket booster. So it's just a demonstration. It's just a test or whatever. And it's part of their development program to ferry astronauts to the space station, because we're buying tickets from Russia. I shouldn't say we are. NASA is buying tickets from Russia to go to the space station with astronauts, because NASA has not had the capability to put an astronaut in space for 8 years now. 8 years. Anyway, the interesting thing about this, we'll have to come back to this video because I got to do a screen share and show you guys a couple things. And then I'll show you the rest of this little short NASA video. Because they're doing something really stupid that they know nothing about. And they admit that they know nothing about it. So let's go to the desktop. Let me just go to the thing and make sure. Hey, Anthony, good to see you. Michael J. Spencer, good to see you. I had to come on here because I was just... okay, good. Everything's working. It's in the morning at like... I think 8 o'clock is the actual time that they're trying to launch, or that they're planning on launching. Let me see here. I gotta go... Here's the... I'll put a link somewhere. Actually, I can... This is a link right here that I will put in the chat. You guys can watch me do it. Okay, there we go. Okay, you're seeing that page, right? Okay, good. Now let's read what it says here. Crew Dragon launch escape demonstration. SpaceX is targeting Saturday, January 18th for the in-flight test of Crew Dragon's launch escape capabilities from Launch Complex 39A at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. This test, which does not have NASA astronauts on board the spacecraft, is intended to demonstrate Crew Dragon's ability to reliably carry crew to safety in the unlikely event of an emergency on ascent, like if the rocket blows up, right? Okay, this doesn't say much about... Oh, wait a minute. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, this doesn't say much, but I just wanted to have that page open. But we're going to watch a little video on whatever this page is. News, the CEO magazine. Okay, there's the rocket, or it's a animation or whatever. A little painting of the rocket. Okay, we're gonna watch this really quick. Listen to this, or part of this anyway.
Crew Dragon in-flight abort preview. As if one seriously interesting project wouldn't be enough, SpaceX is also still working on the Crew Dragon and on its first launch with astronauts towards the ISS. After Boeing's failure to deliver Starliner to the ISS, everything is open again, and SpaceX seems to be very determined to be the first one to launch astronauts from American soil again. Do you remember the very first Falcon 9 Block 5? Booster B1046. It was a game changer. This booster marked the transition between prototype and fully operational. Block 5 is the sum of everything developed in the previous Block variants. And now it's going to give its life to catapult SpaceX into the age of manned flight. On January 18th, this very first Block 5 booster will launch the Crew Dragon in-flight abort test, and it won't survive. Previously flown on 3 other launches in 2018 with Bangabandhu 1 in May, carrying the Maraputi Telcom 4 mission in August, and finally SSO-A in December of the same year, B1046 has lived up to its expectations.
Okay, what this is saying, all he's saying is that specific booster right there, that's the first Block 5 version of the Falcon 9 that they built. And that one has flown 3 missions already, and this is its 4th. Tomorrow morning, and they're not going to recover it, and I think he'll explain why here.
3 launches were executed perfectly, and every time the booster returned safely to its designated landing site. Not this time though. NASA and SpaceX are walking the final steps towards Demo Mission 2, the first crewed flight towards the ISS to be performed by SpaceX. For this, the in-flight abort system...
By the way, not this launch, but that one that he just put this one, DM2, that's like the last, this stuff's all in the Bible, and I know people don't see that, but it is. I'm not saying that this launch is in the Bible, not demonstration 2, but when astronauts get onto this Dragon capsule and fly up to the space station, if they do, that's in the Bible, but I'll show you where when we get done.
SpaceX. For this, the in-flight abort system has to prove that it's fully capable of saving the lives of astronauts Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley in case of an emergency during the launch. Booster 1046 will launch from Launch Complex 39A at Kennedy Space Center and fly a normal trajectory as if it was on the way into orbit. The test will match every parameter of a normal ascent. The booster will be fully fueled, so in theory it could perform a Dragon mission to the ISS. As soon as max Q is
Did you hear him say the booster will be fully fueled?
Passed and the velocity threshold is reached at around 1 minute and 30 seconds into flight.
Okay, so they're fully fueling it, and they're gonna fire it for 1 minute and 30 seconds. It can go a lot longer than that.
The booster will cut its engines though, triggering an in-flight abort of the Crew Dragon. After this has occurred, the booster will be ripped apart by aerodynamic forces, as the flight path should become rather unstable with the missing nose cone on top.
So this is like the first time this has ever happened up that high. This is supersonic, so they're going to be going faster than the speed of sound, and they're going to blow up a rocket. Well, I mean, they're not going to blow it up. That's not quite accurate saying that, but we can listen to about another minute of this.
So this test should be quite exciting to watch. After the capsule has separated, it will do a separation burn with the Super Draco thrusters, which we've already seen in the pad abort test performed by SpaceX. After the separation burn, the capsule will passively coast to the apogee of its flight path. Near the apogee, the trunk will then separate, also getting rid of the now not anymore needed stabilizer fins located on the outside of it. As soon as this happens, the small Draco engines will reorient the spacecraft for descent and parachute deployment.
See, John and Daniel saw all this stuff, and they know about all this stuff, and they wrote it down, but people can't see that part because they don't listen to the testimony of John and Daniel. We're going to go back to my other video now. Okay, so they're going, basically what I'm trying to show you is that they're going to blow up a significant amount of fuel in supersonic speed and up where there is sorry, I'm trying to go back to the video.
NASA and SpaceX are...
Okay, I'll have to fast forward a little bit. Maybe I'll just play the whole thing over again. Because, okay, so this video has two parts right here. This is just like a little, it's called Space to Ground. It's like a little report thing, cute little whatever thing that NASA does. And just says, you know, what they've got going on or whatever. Well, the first part, he talks about the launch tomorrow morning. And then watch very carefully what they say, the ISS astronauts, what science they're doing right now in space on the space station, because they're learning about something because they don't know about something. And it's quite stupid what they're doing tomorrow morning. Let me just play this whole thing. It's only 2 minutes. It's not even 2 minutes long.
NASA and SpaceX are preparing to launch the final major test before the astronauts fly aboard the Crew Dragon and Falcon 9 rocket as part of the commercial crew program. The test, known as in-flight abort, will demonstrate the spacecraft's escape capabilities, showing that the crew system can protect astronauts even in the unlikely event of an emergency during launch. The uncrewed flight test is targeted for Saturday, January the 18th, from Launch Complex 39A in Florida. After liftoff, Falcon 9's ascent will follow a trajectory that will mimic a Crew Dragon mission to the International Space Station, matching the physical environments the rocket and spacecraft will encounter during a normal ascent. SpaceX will configure Crew Dragon to intentionally trigger a launch escape prior to 1 minute and 30 seconds into flight to demonstrate Crew Dragon's capability to safely separate from the Falcon 9 rocket during ascent. This test is designed to provide valuable data toward NASA certifying SpaceX's crew transportation system for carrying astronauts to and from the International Space Station.
Okay, watch this now.
NASA flight engineer Andrew Morgan and Commander Luca Parmitano of the European Space Agency were on science duty this week.
Confined combustion.
The astronauts took turns safely burning fabric and acrylic samples to help scientists understand how flames spread in space. Understanding how flames spread in microgravity in confined spaces of different shapes enables the development of numerical models that allow designers and planners to anticipate fire behavior and create plans for preventing or extinguishing fires effectively in space.
Okay, did anybody understand what they're doing and what the knowledge that they actually have? They have no knowledge about fire up there, combustion, and what I'm saying is, what are they doing? What is SpaceX doing tomorrow morning? They're going to create fire. Okay, now there's a reason why this is crazy. This is the stupidest thing that they could do. There's a reason why. And one of these days, one of these things is going to go really bad, because we do live in a physical material world, and the things like it, you know, my example of the red dragon, maybe I have it here. If people are expecting to see like a cartoon red dragon like this, if this is what you're expecting to see up flying in the sky, you're just not going to see it. You're going to see a little horn. You're going to see something real, is what I'm saying. It's not a fairy tale that John and Daniel saw. It's something real. Okay, we have this. Whoops. We have this, which was real. Okay, this was real. And I'm just trying to find... well, I played the video. I'll do it again here. This is real. This is a real thing. This is a real dragon flying in heaven, okay? The little red cartoon one with wings and the horns breathing fire out of his mouth, that's not real. So, yeah, it's real. That's what I'm trying to say. Let me just pause it right there so we can see dragon. Okay. So what they're going to do is they're going to probably do something that could be, could be really bad. I'm going to open up Enoch chapter 67 and read a couple verses. Because those of us who believe the truth, we know that there's waters above the firmament, and they're dark waters, and it's like the face of the deep, or there was darkness upon the face of the deep. And in Enoch here, in chapter 67, verse, I'll just start in verse 10. For the judgment shall come upon them, because they believe in the lust of their body, and deny the Spirit of the Lord. And those same waters will undergo a change in those days. For when those angels are punished in these waters... Okay, let me explain that. The angels are being punished in those... in those dark waters right now. And they have been ever since they... were led off to those dark waters after being buried in the earth for 70 generations. And this is all in the book of Enoch. But, okay, I'll continue reading here. For when those angels are punished in these water springs shall change their temperature. And when the angels ascend, and that's talking about, basically it's talking about rockets, because they're the spirits of the kings of the Medes, Media, Persia, and Grecia. This water of the spring shall change and become cold. Okay, verse 12. And I heard Michael answering and saying, this judgment wherewith the angels are judged is a testimony for the kings and the mighty who possess the earth. Because these waters of judgment minister to the healing of the body of the kings and the lust of their body. Therefore they will not see and will not believe that those waters will change and become a fire which burns forever. In Jude, how it says, raging waves of the sea, foaming out their own shame, wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. There's a reason why Jude wrote that. There's a reason why 2 Peter 2 verse 4 says that the angels that left their first estate were cast down to hell, and they're under chains of darkness or something like that. Very important to understand that. But so I don't know if anything's going to happen tomorrow, but I will put the link again in the chat just to do that. Hey, Roderick, Theodore, Matthew Foley, Tragic Flat Earth, cool, Anthony Dickinson, Michael J. Spencer, good to see you guys. Good to see you. I'm just scrolling up to see if there's anyone else that I missed. Gene Rago, good to see you. Okay, so do you guys get what I'm saying? You're stretching, Hey, effed up world. You're stretching. Oh, yoga. Oh, goy. Oh, goy. Yoga. Isn't that kind of like, what do they call that? It's like new age stuff, isn't it? I don't know. Let's see here. Okay, so to review, let's listen to this guy talk about what they're doing in, what they're doing up in the space station for science. combined combustion.
Agency were on science duty this week. The astronauts took turns safely burning fabric and acrylic samples to help scientists understand how flames spread in space. Understanding how flames spread in microgravity in confined spaces of different shapes enables the development of numerical models that allow designers and planners to anticipate fire behavior and create plans for preventing or extinguishing fires effectively in space.
This, I don't know. I just have to say that I think they're stupid to do what they're doing in the morning with that booster. Because what happens is when the Falcon 9 booster shuts down, like when the Merlin engines shut off, it triggers the Dragon to get out of there, because it could be the rocket blowing up. Any abnormal thing that happens, that little capsule is going to jet out of there with those Super Dracos. It's going to take off. It's going to leave so that the astronauts are safe, right? It's like a safety system. But that leaves the front of the rocket not at all aerodynamic. Like, the front of the rocket, the part that's moving, taking all of any atmosphere or any air or whatever's hitting it, it'll tear it apart. And this is what they plan on doing, because they're trying to mimic or practice, a real world situation. And it's because these two astronauts are going to ride on this thing. The next flight, if this one's successful, it'll be the next flight up to the space station for astronauts will be on the Dragon. And that is, let me just find something here. Oops. Revelation 13 really quick. Excuse me, let's see here. Okay, and this is verse 4. Revelation 13, verse 4. And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? Like when people point up at the space station. Yeah, Earth's not flat, idiot. Okay. Verse 5. And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell on the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. Okay, I'm going to skip to, actually that isn't even what I was trying to, okay, I'm gonna, the beast, which I'm just saying straight up that it's the space station, and I think it's awful when people laugh at that when they hear that. It's like they're too cool for school. But let me just read verse, okay, let me explain something. The astronauts, I think I already said this, but I'm saying it again. The astronauts all ride on Russian Soyuz rockets to get to the space station. So when NASA has two astronauts that want to go to the space station, they have to call up Russian airlines and buy tickets from Russia. Because NASA has not put an astronaut in space for 8 years. They haven't had the capability. They have no way to do it. They have to buy tickets from Russia. So 2 astronauts, that's like a cool 170 million, something like that. What I'm saying is that the space station has the feet of a bear. Russia. And in this Revelation 13, what I'm trying to get at is try to understand this. And the beast which I saw, this is verse 2, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion, and the dragon gave him his power, and his seat and great authority. So, what I'm trying to say is the dragon is the dragon capsule. So I'm going over here to the chat again. So yeah, I don't know what they're doing. They're not making much sense. Maybe I should go back here and play a little bit of this guy's video again.
Launches in 2018 with Bangabandhu 1 in May, Falcon 9 Block 5, booster B1046. It was a game changer. OA in December of the same year, B1046 has lived up to its expectations.
Sorry guys.
All 3 launches were executed perfectly, and every time the booster returned safely to its designated landing site. Not this time though. NASA and SpaceX are walking the final steps towards Demo Mission 2, the first crewed flight towards the ISS to be performed by SpaceX. For this, the in-flight abort system has to prove that it's fully capable of saving the lives of astronauts Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley in case of an emergency during the launch. Booster 1046 will launch from Launch Complex 39A at Kennedy Space Center and fly a normal trajectory as if it was on the way into orbit. The test will match every parameter of a normal ascent. The booster will be fully fueled, so in theory it could perform a Dragon mission to the ISS. As soon as max Q is passed and the velocity threshold is reached at around 1 minute and 30 seconds into flight, the booster will cut its engines though, triggering an in-flight abort of the Crew Dragon. After this has occurred, the booster will be ripped apart by aerodynamic forces, as the flight paths should become rather unstable with the missing nose cone on top.
Okay, so there you go. Elon Musk said, I think I have a screenshot. Let me try to find. I'm just gonna go back.
NASA
here.
and SpaceX are preparing to launch the final.
Sorry. What's this here? Oh, there we go. That's a little quick image of the Dragon version 1, the resupply cargo capsule. They made 10 of those. Remember he had 10 horns? Do you guys want me to show you something? There's things that people don't know that if they knew them, I think they would be much more interested in what is happening with these companies. Not like I think it's important or anything, but I want to show you something. Okay, this might take just a second, but it'll be worth it. Okay, let's go to... Should be seeing my Google, right? Okay, good. Oh, let me change the window. I got the wrong window there. Whoops. Entire desktop. There we go. Okay. So we're going to go to 2nd Esdras, chapter 11 or 12. I don't remember exactly where it is, but Ezra has a vision. I want to show you what God does to show these guys things, and then they have no idea what they're writing down, and it comes to pass in a way that nobody even sees how I don't even know the word to describe it, how amazing it is. Okay, I want to just point out some numbers. I'm not going to try to go through the whole vision or anything, okay? But he saw an eagle, and it had 12 feathered wings and 3 heads, okay? And out of its wings grew opposing wings, okay? And we find out, I'll have to find it here. We find out that there's the opposing wings, there was 8. So there was 12 feathered wings, 3 heads, and out of the wings grew, I'll find it here. It might be in the next chapter, but I think it's here. Let's see. It says somewhere that there was 8 opposing wings. Right here, verse 11. I counted its opposing wings, and there were 8 of them. So I'm just trying to point out, he saw an eagle, 12 feathered wings, 3 heads, and 8 opposing wings. Okay. And also I should probably point out that as I looked, it spread its wings over the whole earth, and all the winds of heaven blew toward it, and the clouds gathered around it. So it's talking about something flying up in heaven. It was an eagle. right? But I just want to point out to you that those numbers, we're going to find them on Wikipedia when we type in some SpaceX stuff. The CRS, which is Commercial Resupply Services, that's a NASA contract. Let's look at the first contract. SpaceX CRS-1. Is that the right one? That's probably not the right. I'm just going to have to, I'm going to type it in. Sorry, guys. Okay. I knew it would be purple because I was already there. Okay. Watch this. This is not the page I thought it was. I thought it was Wikipedia. Never mind. I do a lot of looking around here. Let's just look at this then. I think it's this. It's got to be this page. I think it is. Yeah. Let me just read this. Commercial resupply services are a series of flights awarded by NASA for the delivery of cargo and supplies to the International Space Station, ISS, on commercially operated spacecraft. The first CRS contracts were signed in 2008 and awarded $1.6 billion to SpaceX for 12 Cargo Dragon and $1.9 billion to Orbital Sciences for 8 Cygnus flights. This is not a coincidence. What I'm trying to say is that nobody understands what these visions that these prophets had because they don't listen to the words that the prophets say. Like, well, a good example is in 2nd Esdras. People just pass right over this as that he saw it flying over the whole earth. So something flying. Out of its wings grew opposing wings. These became small, tiny wings. Yeah, orbital ATK, they didn't amount to much. They had 1 failure, I think, or 2 failures. And the Dragon capsule is the one that is really doing the deal. But that was just one thing I wanted to share really quick because it's just people don't understand how accurate and how really accurate, I guess, is the best word I can probably use. I'm gonna try to find something really quick and play it if I can find it. So how are you guys doing tonight? Hey, Truth Matters, what's happening? Good to see you. Shout out to David J. Karen. I'm friends with him on Facebook too. Ooh, good. He's putting out money for proof of the globe. Actually, I think right now, there's a debate going on between Nathan Thompson and some globe dude. I don't know who I don't keep them guys straight. I don't know who it is. Team Skeptic or something. Or I might be wrong on that. I don't know. Let's see here. I'm trying to find. I don't think it's in this folder. I'm probably not going to be able to find it. It's not there. Let me look in. Oh, I think I know where it is. Team Septic. That's I knew I was close. That sounds right though. Hey Wally S, good to see you. Hey, you know what I gotta start doing? And I just realized this when I was looking at analytics or whatever for my channel. I have to start asking people to subscribe to my channel because of the watch hours or whatever of my channel, there's more watch hours of people that are unsubscribed than people that are subscribed, and that seems really weird to me. But it's consistent too. So I'm getting a lot of people watching my videos that aren't subscribing. And so I think if I remind people to subscribe to my channel, then maybe I'll get more subscribers. Anyway, still trying to find something. What is this one? No, that's... Oh, yeah, this one's actually pretty good. Let me just play a quick, short one. It's 17 seconds long, I think. Oh, need some.
Out of the earth. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. And he had 2 horns like a lamb. And he spake as a dragon. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
Liftoff of the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket, launching Dragon to the International Space Station, launching Dragon to...
He that killeth with the sword...
Hey, I just realized this is a 10-minute video. You guys want to watch it? Let's watch it.
...must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that...
Sorry, I had my mic down. I gotta pause it because, actually I'll just rewind it a little bit, because he was talking about the deadly wound that was healed. We know what that is. Like, I know what that is. Why are they doing these Dragon launches, and why are they doing these demo tests and like to certify this vehicle to be good enough to do what? To fly astronauts again. NASA can't fly astronauts for 8 years. That's a deadly wound. Okay, here we go.
Come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast.
The son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things? And now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let, until he be taken out of the way. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan.
Hey, Roderick, I'm going to comment on that. How does a dragon speak? He speaks by giving his power unto the beast. That's what Revelation 13 says. Let me read it really quick again. It says, and he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. So, Isaiah 66:1, thus saith the Lord, the heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. That God's temple is in heaven. From heaven, the Lord looks down on the earth. So, as far as how does the dragon speak, he speaks in blasphemy and blaspheming God's name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. And it also says, and there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. So that's what I think it's talking about when it says that. Okay, we'll keep going here. Whoops. Sorry.
With all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they received not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause God shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned, who believed not the truth, but had pleasure.
After this,
that got cut off a little short. Had pleasure in unrighteousness. So yeah, this truth that came into the world a few years ago, the people that won't receive it, Paul just said what happens. I'll play it again.
In them that perish, because they received not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause God shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned, who believed not the truth, but had pleasure.
After this I saw in the night visions, and behold a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. And it had 10 horns. And I saw in a vision, and I was by the river of Ulai. Then I lifted up mine eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high. But one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beasts might stand before him, neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand. But he did according to his will, and became great. And as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. And he came to the ram that had 2 horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in the fury of his power. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram, and brake his 2 horns. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him, but he cast him down to the ground, and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven.
Those 4 notable ones are the Super Dracos. And then another little horn comes out of that. We watched that in this other guy's video. Maybe I'll try to find that while this is playing. I have a little video of it, I think.
And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great, toward the south, and toward the east, and toward the pleasant land. And it waxed great, even to the host of heaven. And it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground. And
I hope Jason T comes in too, because he needs to understand this stuff. All those guys do. They all need to understand what these beasts are, because it's very, very important. But I've got nothing against Jason T. I just think that he needs to listen to what other people are saying, or listen to what other people are pointing out in the scriptures. That's what I think.
Stamped upon them. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host. And by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. And an host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression. And it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered.
He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven,
Now is come salvation, and strength, and the kingdom of our God.
Whoops. Sorry, guys. I didn't plan on pausing that. I thought something was going wrong. I think it's fine. Sorry.
And the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony. And they loved not their lives unto the death.
boosters.
I don't know why it's doing that skippy thing. Sometimes if I just pause it for a few seconds, it goes away. That's Zechariah 5 playing on the right. The curse that goes over the face of the whole earth. It's a flying roll. Hey, Don Pratt. Hey, Clouds Behind the Sun. Good to see you guys.
On behalf of Ripley, Little Earth, myself, and our crew, welcome to the Crew Dragon. Congratulations to all of the teams who made yesterday's launch and today's docking a success. These amazing feats show us not how easy our mission is, but how capable we are of doing hard things.
How capable we are of doing hard things. Hello, Charles Compare. Good to see you. I just got to point out that she is sitting in a Dragon capsule that's attached to the space station, and she is treading under her muddy boots the Temple of God, New Jerusalem, up in the sky. That's up there, the Temple of God. All throughout the book of Revelation, it says many times, the temple of God, which is in heaven. So that heaven is above us. It's up in the sky. Shamayim means sky. So I'll continue.
Welcome to the new era in spaceflight.
And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another,
Go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly.
And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said,
Go to, let us build a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth.
And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men builded. And the Lord said,
Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do.
Hello, Brian Wrightsell. Good to see you. Did you hear what the Lord just said, you guys? He said, and now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. Just think about that. Okay, they built a tower, trying to build a tower up to heaven. I think we built the tower again, guys. And we are a world that is of one tongue. Jesus said, I beheld Satan falling like lightning from heaven. Dragon is Satan, guys. Okay, so that, you guys like my little NASA, backwards NASA snake thing? I like that. Bruce Hansen, good to see you. Good to see you. And I like what Charles Compare said. He said, where did he say it? About rockets. Was that up higher? The new tower is called Rockets. You're dang right it is. Are they being cast down like Elon Musk came out of nowhere? Well, I don't know. As far as what I see, what I believe is that fallen angels have seduced mankind into creating vehicles or creating a way for the fallen angels who are bound in that darkness, the darkness of space, okay? The blackness of darkness. They're bound up there, so they've found a way to break out into our world now, just in the last 60 years. And even more specifically, and I don't really understand why, but it has to do with these capsules, with these Dragon capsules, and it has something to do with flying astronauts. So, Cold Fire Ice 8044, good to see you. How do you know Tower of Babel was 200 miles in circumference? I think, I wonder if check Jasher, the book of Jasher, chapter 9, it might say something about it. And I know there's other places that mention the size of the base. It was like, I think it was, to walk around it was 3 days walk, I think. I think that's what Jasher says, maybe. But it was very large. Very large. Like no building that exists even today. So yeah, and that's the thing. There's a weird thing in the book of Jasher, chapter 9, that says that the way that the tower was destroyed, it almost made it seem like some of the tower remained up in the sky, and some like just the wording. And I could be wrong on that, but I think it said 3 days, Bruce, but maybe 6. I don't know. I think it was 3. I'm not sure actually. Our government got rocket technology from the Nephilim. Actually, it's the spirits of the kings of the Medes. It's actually the fallen angels, like not their offspring. It's the actual fallen angels. Yeah, I've been watching that Anthony Dickinson. That's good stuff. Some of it's kind of way out there, I think, but like well, some of it, I guess I can't really say too much. Yeah, Hollywood stars. You know, let me see if I got a video here. I gotta show you guys something that's, I mean, I'm not trying to rip on anybody when I'm okay. I'm not ripping on whatever this guy's name is. I forgot it already. Famous pastor on YouTube. Just watch what he says.
Now let's continue here in verse 13. Raging waves of the sea, foaming out their own shame. And then it says, wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. Who in the world today is called a star? Well, we have your Hollywood stars. If you go to Hollywood, actors are called stars. And so they're stars. And then it says, of whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. What is the blackness of darkness forever? Well, I believe he's clearly talking about hell. Because in the Bible, there's a place where there's darkness forever. And it's called hell and the lake of fire.
I just figured out that I'm going to be playing a bunch of videos because I just found, I got reminded the dark waters, like NASA is, yes, Bruce, that was Robert Breaker. NASA, they're learning the truth, but they're not going to learn it in a way that, they're not going to learn the actual truth, like that Jesus created everything, made everything. Let's see here. Okay, first of all, I want to point out that in Ezekiel and a few other places, I just want to play a quick video. I believe that they put satellites up in the temple of God. That's what I believe. And that I'll just show you why I believe that. I believe that because of the Bible. Because the Lord himself said that he was going to cause them to do that. So let's just check out these few verses here.
As for the beauty of his ornament, he set it in majesty, but they made the images of their abominations and of their detestable things therein. Therefore have I set it far from them, and I will give it into the hands of the strangers for a prey, and to the wicked of the earth for a spoil, and they shall pollute it, and they shall pollute it. My face will I turn also from them, and they shall pollute my secret place, for the robbers shall enter into it and defile it. Make a chain, for the land is full of bloody crimes, and the city is full of violence. Wherefore I will bring the worst of the heathen, and they shall possess their houses. I will also make the pomp of the strong to cease, and their holy places shall be defiled. Destruction cometh, and they shall seek peace, and there shall be none.
He bowed the heavens also and came down, and darkness was under his feet. And he rode upon a cherub, and did fly. Yea, he did fly upon the wings of the wind. He made darkness his secret place. He made darkness his secret place. His pavilion, round about him were dark waters, and thick clouds of the skies.
My face will I turn also from them, and they shall pollute my secret place, for the robbers shall enter into it.
Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber.
And they shall pollute my secret place, for the robbers shall enter into it and defile it.
But he that entereth in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the porter openeth, and the sheep hear his voice, and he calleth his own sheep by name, and leadeth them out. And when he putteth forth his own sheep, he goeth before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. And a stranger will they not follow, but will flee from him.
You know, it's very important, I think, that people listen to what Jesus is saying. Because he is the only door into the sheepfold, or whatever it said, the pasture or whatever. He's the only door. No man ascends into heaven, but he that came down from heaven, even the Son of Man, which is in heaven. Okay, so what is above us? What is the darkness above us that they're going into for space activities and exploration? Watch this.
The weird part about it is space is so incredibly black, so incredibly dark. It's a bottomless pit of deep black, almost so deep it almost has a texture when you look at it.
Wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. Whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever.
Kind of a little repeat there.
The blackness of darkness forever. Well, I believe he's clearly talking about hell. Because in the Bible, there's a place where there's darkness forever. And it's called hell and the lake of fire.
When you come in from a spacewalk, you're surrounded by the emptiness of space. It's sort of like the opposite of air. There's nothing there at all. When you quickly repressurize the hatch and you open up the hatch and you smell, what is that lingering smell from a place that used to be exposed to space? The smell in there is a little bit like that trace of a smell of gunpowder or burnt steak, or sort of like brimstone, like a witch has just been there.
Brimstone. Sort of that metallic gunpowder fired smell.
By the way, that's a NASA video that said the abyss stares back. That was their Halloween video. Let's see. Oh, what do you think is the fire the seven mountains burn over? Oh, that's a good question, because that I don't know. But it's a fire that burns day and night. And I do think that it's a fire that we can't see from here anyway. But Enoch clearly saw it. And it was the abyss of fire, which to me is the same place as the bottomless pit or hell or Sheol or whatever. And I saw what you guys were talking about in the chat a little bit. I believe hell is in the heart of the earth. It's beneath the earth, but it is a spiritual place. It's for spirits. It's not a place like where there's dirt and graves like that. It is a spiritual place, and we could almost say celestial. And when Enoch went there, what he saw beyond this abyss was those seven planets, the seven wandering stars, and he called them mountains, like Bruce was saying there. So what's interesting about that is in Revelation 17, John goes in the Spirit to a wilderness, and I believe it's the same place that Enoch went, and John saw those seven mountains again. But then there was an eighth one there, and the angel told John that the eighth one was the beast. So when I look up at the night sky and I see the space station fly over, that is the eighth wandering star that I see in the sky. It's the eighth wandering star. It's the eighth mountain. It is the beast. Let's see here. Yeah, good call, Anthony Dickinson. I like that. I don't know why. Okay, let's see. A couple of verses about this darkness.
Raging waves of the sea, foaming out their own shame. Wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever.
For if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell, and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the eighth person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly, and turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an ensample unto those that after should live ungodly. And these are wells without water, clouds that are carried with a tempest, to whom the mist of darkness is reserved forever.
Okay, so the next video that I'm going to play is 3 minutes and 46 seconds long. And, oh, interesting. Okay, yeah, you guys will like this video. And maybe you've seen it before, but I think in 3 minutes and 46 seconds, I give a pretty good, I don't know, not an argument or whatever. I think I show pretty clearly that the ISS could just be the beast. So check this video out.
This is the only place that humans have outside of planet Earth where humans can live. And if you like, down there on Earth, you can actually see it with your naked eye. You just go to the ISS website and it tells you when to see us. You can look up in the sky and you will see this bright little star moving over the sky.
Enoch chapter 18 verses 13 through 15. I saw there 7 stars like great burning mountains. And to me, when I inquired regarding them, the angel said, This place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. And the stars which roll over the fire are they which have transgressed the commandment of the Lord in the beginning of their rising, because they did not come forth at their appointed times. And he was wroth with them, and bound them till the time when their guilt should be consummated, even for 10,000 years.
And here we are, 6 humans on the International Space Station, the embassy of humankind out in space, continuing an 18-year uninterrupted human presence on this fantastic laboratory. You can look up in the sky and
they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world. When they behold the beast.
You can look up in the sky and
they behold the beast.
You will see this bright little star.
They behold the beast.
Moving over the sky.
They behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains, on which the woman sitteth. And there are 7 kings. 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come.
Okay, I gotta pause it because I want to explain this. Okay, NASA can't go to space with astronauts. None of these guys can except Russia is the only one that can. So 5 are fallen, because there's a total of 6, but I think now you could consider it 7 because I guess Space Force is officially a branch of the military or whatever they're calling it. So we could be in that time that the other one's gonna come, but here we go.
And when he cometh, he must continue a short space.
And that's tomorrow morning is the launch. If it's a successful demonstration, then it's the final one before they do launch astronauts from the Dragon. So it is kind of a significant thing.
And the beast that was, and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition.
You can see that on many, many nights, and if you see it, think about that humans actually built this.
And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder.
There are right now 6 humans, soon only 3 humans up here, out of the 7 billion humans that live down on Earth. So
when they behold the beast,
give these guys a wave when you see them.
When they behold the beast, 5 are fallen, and 1 is.
I saw in my vision by night, and behold another beast, a second, like to a bear. And it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. To this I beheld, and lo, another, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it.
So there's that video. I made that a while ago, but let's see, there's more. Okay, this video here is one that I named it what I hear from people all the time. Satan's not a rocket. I beg to differ.
All stations on Dragon, 1 minute until configure for terminal count.
T-minus 30 seconds. Minus 15 seconds.
Falcon 9, go for propellant loading. Dragon is in countdown.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition.
It's just after midnight on March 3rd, and you are looking at a live view of the Dragon spacecraft as it approaches the International Space Station for a planned docking in just under 2.5 hours from now. Dragon 2, Dragon.
And in case you missed it, which I don't know how you could have, the mission began just about 24 hours ago when Falcon 9 lifted off from historic Launch Pad 39A in Cape Canaveral at 2:49 a.m. local time, lighting up the sky. Falcon 9 carrying Crew Dragon in
Dragon is Dragon
will
Dragon V Dragon all
Dragon
Dragon is Dragon Space Dragon X Dragon into
Dragon Dragon's
Dragon is Dragon's
Dragon Wall
Dragon is Dragon's Dragon deliver Dragon's
Dragon into space
Dragon Space Dragon
fly on Dragon Crew Dragons. NASA's Commercial Crew Program though represents a new era in space travel, and since the end of the shuttle program, the only ride of the station has been on the Russian Soyuz. But by working with SpaceX and Boeing, there's soon going to be a new fleet of spacecraft capable of bringing humans to low Earth orbit. And of course, all of this supports the mission of the International Space Station, humanity's premier laboratory in space, where we're pushing the boundaries in science and technology every single day.
The space station and its history is really interesting. It's been up in orbit for almost 2 decades now. Let's take a close look at how the International Space Station came to be and its role in furthering human space exploration.
The International Space Station, a football field-sized, million-pound laboratory flying around planet Earth at...
Doing that thing again, sorry. I just have to pause it for a minute. I think it's just the program. I might be able to adjust something. I'll try it in a second here. Let's see here.
17,500 miles per hour. It's our home in low Earth orbit and the bridge to exploring the far reaches of our solar system. A place to learn what it takes to live, to work, to thrive in space. Thanks to space agencies representing more than a dozen countries around the world, it went from the drawing board to liftoff when the first piece flew into space in 1998. That kicked off over a decade of construction, hauling the station to orbit piece by piece on NASA's space shuttle and Russian rockets. And after the first crew arrived in November 2000, we started an unbroken streak of humans living and working in space. Building on the legacy of past outposts like Skylab and Mir, the International Space Station became the training ground for humanity's next great journeys. Learning how to live in space for extreme periods of time, building and perfecting the technologies necessary to travel to our neighbors in the solar system. It gave us a place right on our doorstep to prepare for the next giant leap into the unknown. And thanks to the station, a new era in outer space is unfolding. What was once the domain of only nations and governments is now populated by a growing space fleet from American industry. Private spacecraft to fly cargo and crew members, new habitats and technologies for future space missions, and an open door for companies, research institutions, and even students around the world to do research in space that have never had the opportunity before. All laying the foundation for a robust economy in space. There have been thousands of experiments, hundreds of spacewalks, endless hours of challenges and successes, all done by humans hailing from countries around the globe. The International Space Station is what we can achieve as a planet when we come together to do the things that are hard. And the work isn't slowing down, because we're ready for the next giant leap, because we're ready to go farther, because what we do and learn along the way is for the benefit of all of humankind.
Now let's talk a little more about Crew Dragon.
Dragon basically fly itself, but Dragon.
Crew Dragon, Space Dragon.
Falcon 9, the Dragon caps.
Up to 7 crew members with
Dragon.
Dragon and Dragon to Dragon in Dragon and Dragon 6.
Dragon was Falcon 9 and Dragon. Dragon is healthy. Dragon is a Dragon splashes safely down back on the Earth.
Dragon is headed towards the International Space Station here.
And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pained to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. and his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven,
Now is come salvation, and strength, and the kingdom of our God, and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony. And they loved not their lives unto the death. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion.
It's the end of the shuttle program. The only ride of the station has been on the Russian Soyuz, but by working with SpaceX and Boeing, there's soon going to be a new fleet of spacecraft capable of bringing humans to low Earth orbit.
And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority. And I saw one of his heads, as it were, wounded to death. And his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying,
Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?
And there was given unto him a mouth, speaking great things and blasphemies. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name, and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
Artificial intelligence is what?
It's just digital intelligence, and as the algorithms and the hardware improve, that digital intelligence will exceed biological intelligence by a substantial margin. It's obvious.
Excuse me, how could AI destroy civilization?
You know, it would be something the same way that humans destroyed the habitat of primates. I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be destroyed, but we might be relegated to a small corner of the world. We might be relegated to a small corner of the world. We might be relegated to a small corner of the world.
You're a neuroscience company, and you're working to build basically an interface to the brain. Interface to the brain.
Yeah. Electrode to neuron interface at a micro level.
Okay, what is it? Like, I'm gonna have like a plug in my head that's gonna fit into a hard drive? Like, okay, what is it? Like, I'm gonna have like a plug in my head that's gonna fit into a hard drive? Like, or how does that work?
Yeah. A chip and a bunch of tiny wires.
Or how does that work?
Yeah. A chip and a bunch of tiny wires.
Or how does that work?
Yeah. A chip and a bunch of tiny wires.
This would be implanted surgically. This would be implanted surgically. And it would do what? Could you input? Could you download Jim?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What?
The long-term aspiration for Neuralink would be to achieve a symbiosis with artificial intelligence.
Basically, an effort for man to merge with machine in a healthy way.
Yes.
Basically, an effort for man to merge with machine in a healthy way.
Yes.
Basically, an effort for man to merge with machine in a healthy way.
Yes.
To beat machines, you basically have to merge with machines.
Most likely, yes. Essentially, how do we ensure that the future constitutes the sum of the will of humanity? And so if we have billions of people with the high bandwidth link to the AI extension of themselves, and so if we have billions of people with the high bandwidth link to the AI extension of themselves, and so if we have billions of people with the high bandwidth link to the AI extension of themselves, it would actually make everyone hyper smart.
Okay, so you...
This is very esoteric.
Yeah, no, but you say this is more psi than phi, so you believe we're headed this
I
way.
believe this can be done.
When will I be able to get the interface implant?
It's probably on the order of a decade. And by the way, you kind of have this already in a weird way, in that you have a digital tertiary layer in the form of your phone, your computers. You basically have these computing devices that form a tertiary layer on your cognition already.
So wait, we have that imprint in our implant in our brain.
Yeah.
We download most of Jim. Then could I, in the digital Jim, could I make him a skilled Mandarin speaker or a tuba player and re-upload it to him?
Yeah. Along the way, Neuralink is going to help solve a lot of nerve and just memory. Like, as people get older, they lose their memory. And so saying it's incredibly sad when a mother forgets her own children, and that can be solved too.
I've seen you speak in person. We've watched some of your interviews. Like, sometimes you seem visibly sad about what's happening.
I think we should try to take the set of actions that are most likely to make the future good for humanity. I'm pro-human. And my faith in humanity is being a little shaken this year. And my faith in humanity is being a little shaken this year. But I'm still pro-humanity.
You've said that this has been the toughest year for you, the most sort of taxing year for you.
No one should put this many hours into work. This is not good. And people should not work this hard. They should not do this. It's very painful.
Painful in what sense?
It hurts my brain and my heart. It hurts.
Do you believe in God?
I believe there's some explanation for this universe, which you might call God.
Elon Musk, thank you for an amazing conversation.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Fascinating.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it, sir.
And excuse me, how could AI destroy civilization?
I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be destroyed, but we might be relegated to a small corner of the world. Yeah. Electrode to neuron interface at a micro level.
Okay, what is it? Like, I'm gonna have like a plug in my head that's gonna fit into a hard drive? Like, or how does that work?
Yeah. A chip and a bunch of tiny wires.
Or how does that work?
Yeah. A chip and a bunch of tiny wires.
This would be implanted surgically. And it would do what? Could you input? Could you download Jim?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, basically, an effort for man to merge with machine in a healthy way.
Yes. And so if we have billions of people with the high bandwidth link to the AI extension of themselves, I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be destroyed, but we might be relegated to a small corner of the world. When
will I be able to get the interface implant? It's obvious.
No matter who you are and where you come from, what your history is, what your background is, what your beliefs are, just take note of this. situation here. In the Bible, it talks about something happening at the end, and there's a dragon involved, and there's a man that blasphemes God's tabernacle and those that dwell in heaven, and he makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and this is no joke. And a lot of people, that actually almost everybody, doesn't understand what this is. It's a dominion. It's not a government. It's not of men. You don't understand. We're talking about heaven and God's throne being blasphemed.
He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth.
Alright, I'm pausing it, and I've got one last video. Whoops, I'll start that in just a moment. It's only 2 minutes long, and then I'm going to head out of here. So thank you guys for hanging out and for seeking the truth. And I'm going to remind you, if you're not subscribed, to subscribe. And yeah, watch for that launch. I might live stream it in the morning, or if I can figure out how to do it like in a proper way. So it might be as early as 7 in the morning. So like, what is that? 7 hours from now, or 8 hours from now, or something, I might be on. So let's see. Yeah, I have to agree with CR a little, but there's something about Zen Garcia. I like Zen, and he seems awesome, and he loves Jesus. And he's for many years, he's been searching out a lot of text that some of it could be called scriptures, some of it could be called who knows, some of it could be called definitely not. And so I think as time has gone on, that I know I've changed. My beliefs have changed full circle. So what I'm saying is that some of the things that Zen, he's written a lot of books, and some of the things that he wrote in the past may not be his beliefs of today because of the truth that is being revealed. So I know that there's some of the things that Zen has said in the past seem to be very kind of unsettling. But like I'm saying, if you go to his channel and you listen to him speaking about these things, he's very clear that he's very clear about what he believes, I think. And I think it's not exactly what he used to believe. So that's what I'm saying about Zen. I do like him and his channel, and I like going over there, and they just studied Second Esdras, and like they're doing good studies over there. So this video is 2 minutes long, and it is going to do these verses again, but it's just check it out. Thank you guys for hanging out and for stopping by, and have a great night.